Our top focus story on the broadcast is this crucial meeting that's currently underway at the Prime Minister's residence between leaders of the Gupkar Alliance, the Congress, the BJP, leaders from Jammu and Kashmir. This meeting has been now on for more than 2 hours. There are 14 leaders from Jammu and Kashmir who are present for this crucial meeting, and the political roadmap of Jammu and Kashmir is being discussed at this very important meeting. Before the meeting, leaders from the Gupkar Alliance said their agenda is the restoration of Article 370 and 35A and going back to the pre-5th August 2019 status. Leaders from Jammu, especially the BJP, have made it very clear there is no question of going back to pre-August 5, 2019 scenario. In that case, what will the road ahead be? So leaders from Kashmir in this meeting include former Chief Ministers Farooq Abdullah, Omar Abdullah, Ghulam Nabi Azad and Mehbooba Mufti. Others from the valley include Muzaffar Hussain Beg, Yusuf Taregami, Altaf Bukhari, Sajjad Lone and G.A. Mir. If we were to talk about leaders from south of Pir Panjal, Nirmal Singh, Kavindra Gupta, Tara Chand, Ravindra Raina and Professor Bhim Singh. They're leaders from south of Pir Panjal in this meeting that is currently underway. I want to cut across to India Today's National Affairs Editor Rahul Srivastav and Paulami Saha joining me on this very important meeting. Rahul, is there hope of common meeting ground when there are two maximalist positions on either side of the Pir Panjal? And will Prime Minister perhaps lead the way in getting leaders from Jammu and Kashmir together? Is that how this icebreaker perhaps moves on to be?
Gaurav, as you had said in the last bulletin, that Kodak moment in which Prime Minister is standing flanked by 4 Chief Ministers, ex-Chief Ministers of Jammu and Kashmir, leaders of the party, Deputy Chief Ministers, that itself is a step forward. Yes, this meeting has come after a long delay as far as the abrogation of Article 370, 35A is concerned, and also a lot of international pressure, definitely because one finds that it's been almost 2 years since the democratic exercises in Jammu and Kashmir were held in abeyance. The government was under pressure. The government was also under pressure on the fact that should it be talking to those who talk with the subversive and the separatists.
Yes.
But the fact is that this meeting itself is a step forward. Beyond that, Gaurav, what we are told in the meeting, the presentation was made on the step taken forward in terms of all the good that has come from after the 5th of August 2019, in terms of, say, reservations for those who are marginalized and also women, and also the kind of development work which is on, and the kind of access now the system has in terms of the roads which are being built and other elements. Now, one after one, the leaders are citing their stand as far as the future is concerned. The fact remains, Gaurav, that they are all talking and presenting to the government their apprehensions is a very, very clear indicator that it's not going to be an easy task for the government or these leaders who are there, because they have their own domestic constituency to address. There are a lot of apprehensions, because if they go back without what they have been promising, Gaurav,
yes,
for the last 2 years almost now, that they want complete reversal, then they will find it domestically very difficult to address their own constituencies.
Yes.
And that is why the government, in fact, the central government has a very important task, Gaurav, that it keeps their status alive and relevant so that they can remain as a link between the people of Kashmir and the central government. And that is why this exercise and the result today may not give huge templates, issue resolves and others, but it will also give perhaps these people that relevance, that political leaders who have been elected leaders in the past are being engaged, and they are the true representatives of Kashmir, not the subversives and others.
That's a very important point you raise. In fact, Paulami, what's extremely significant is no room for Pakistan, no room for Pakistan's proxies. So they are out of this equation. Moving forward, when it comes to dialogue with elected leadership or former elected leadership of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, But at this point of time, Polami, is the focus also on the people of Jammu, or is this, like many times in the past, the perception in Jammu is that it's all about Kashmir and Jammu is perhaps the poor country cousin?
Well, that is the apprehension and the fear which has been expressed by leaders from the Jammu region, that it appears again with the kind of tilted sort of importance and significance which is being accorded to leaders from the Kashmir Valley. It appears again that Jammu is the poor country cousin as far as this dialogue between New Delhi and Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. They, of course, continue to press for the return of Kashmiri Pandits to the valley. They do believe that, that is an exercise that needs to happen in the right earnest, because despite the lifting of special status for Jammu and Kashmir and, of course, the withdrawal of statehood for Jammu and Kashmir, since 2019, there haven't been many Kashmiri Pandits who've returned to the valley. They do want that to happen in a climate where they believe that, it is peaceful and absolutely safe for them to return and return with dignity. So that is going to be one of the main issues that leaders from the Jammu region, specifically who belong to the Bharatiya Janata Party, will be raising in that meeting. Of course, there is former Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Tara Chand, who is from the Congress Party, who's present in that meeting as well. He's from the Jammu region as well. So it will be interesting to see how they put forth their views. And obviously, they're also talking about equitable distribution of seats, assembly seats in Jammu and Kashmir.
That's a very important aspect that you are raising, about equitable distribution of seats, Polami. Absolutely. In fact, apart from Tara Chand, there's Kavindra Gupta, Ravindra Raina, Nirmal Singh. There is representation of both Kashmir and Jammu in this meeting. The perception, of course, is that the scales are tilted in favor of the valley. But why is this meeting extremely crucial, and why is it so crucial at this point of time? Take a look. It's the first major political outreach, and it's been made by the Prime Minister of the country after Article 370's purge on the 5th of August 2019. What's the aim? It's aimed at the resumption of the electoral process in both Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, Ladakh now is a separate union territory. This comes at a time when trust deficit between leadership in the Kashmir Valley and leadership in Delhi perhaps was at its peak, and this is a bridge building exercise. But will this help build bridges between the valley, Jammu and Delhi? That remains the big question. Now, once again, I want to bring in Rahul Srivastav. Rahul, is this then a bridge building exercise? Many had argued that after 5th of August 2019, Centre had burnt its bridges with the existing leadership in the valley. New leadership will emerge. We've had Panchayat elections. We've had District Development Council elections. But is this an attempt to rebuild bridges? A lot of water has flown down the Jhelum, but still build another bridge.
Gaurav, you use a very interesting analogy here, the water down the Jhelum. You see, since the document of accession, the ground realities were such that there were a lot of attempts for mainstreaming, especially the Kashmir Valley. Now, those were built on a certain ground. Let's not, even if somebody does not get into the success or the failure or the very, very volatile character of the situation there, you see, the fact is, Gaurav, the ground realities under which Kashmir is ruled, the constitutional provisions have changed. And that means that the flat bottom of the Jhelum River is now completely altered compared to what it was prior to 5th of August 2019.
Yes.
In that, I will say that this is not just a bridge building exercise. I think it's a foundation laying exercise happening. That somewhere a foundation has to be laid, that how a bridge has to be built. Now, that is the criticality of this exercise, because if people stay stubborn to what their demand is, go back to the same situation, that demand needs to be neutralized first.
Okay.
Because What the government wants is that the mainstreaming should happen through the electoral process, and then statehood can come into picture. And that is why the government's role is very critical, that how it engages the leaders here and how through them it engages the public of Jammu and Kashmir.
Fair enough. So there is a delimitation exercise that is underway, and we'll talk about that in greater detail with you and with Poulomi. But there's breaking news coming in. Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, she stirred up on its nest. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi is having this very key meeting with the leadership of Jammu and Kashmir. Political activity, it's being revived in Jammu and Kashmir. Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee launched a frontal attack on Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying India's name was tarnished globally after the decision was taken to abrogate Article 370. Now Mamata Banerjee seems to indicate that there appears to be some kind of a flip-flop in the government's stance on abrogating Article 370 on the 5th of August 2019, the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019, and dialogue with the leadership today. Let's listen in to Mamata Banerjee.
स्टेटहुड छीनना क्या जरूरत था? लोगों तो पहले आजादी लोगों को चाहिए. आजादी अगर छीन के लेता है तो सब आजादी तो चला जाता है ना. ये तो देश के लिए कोई काम पे नहीं आया. उपरंत ये 2 साल कश्मीर में कोई टूरिस्ट भी जाने नहीं पाया. और देश के लिए भी एक इज्जत का सवाल, देश का बहुत बदनाम भी हुआ है. जैसा वैक्सीन के लिए बदनाम भी हुआ है, इसका लिए भी हुआ है.
So Mamata Banerjee seems to believe that the country was insulted, or the country's reputation was tarnished after abrogation of 370. Why was statehood removed if it had to be given back? Rahul, try and make sense of what Mamata Banerjee is saying. Is this just a powerful opposition chief minister attacking the prime minister? Is there a bigger game at play here?
Gaurav, it is just constituency addressing. Basically, Mamata Banerjee realizes that within her state also, there might be a constituency which might not be happy with the idea of what has happened in Jammu and Kashmir. And that's the constituency she is trying to address. The second is that if there is a larger opposition dream of coming together and taking on the government, now Article 370 defanging and removal of 35A was a kind of a political high for the BJP. Now, if that is so, then the opposition will like to take on the government over that very issue. Now, if one is talking about the opposition trying to create a larger unity index, then it is a stand which is in consonance or in sync with what Congress and others have been doing. So what one can say is that this could well be, Gaurav, is one of the bigger problems which the government will face in coming days, that though it may be talking to political players in Jammu and Kashmir, outside Jammu and Kashmir to create a larger political consensus on what it is trying to do in Kashmir might be very difficult to get. And that's yet another stumbling block for this government.
Okay. Poulomi, you've just come back from Bengal. How do you look at Bengal Chief Minister saying that what the government has done on Article 370 has tarnished the country's reputation?
Well, obviously, Mamata Banerjee has been on a warpath with the central government and specifically the Bharatiya Janata Party. So it's no surprises that she has made this very strong statement against the central government, a very strong statement at that. She, of course, when asked earlier about the meeting itself, said she wasn't very familiar with the agenda of the meeting, which, of course, the government has been very tight-lipped about. But she, of course, said that what happened in 2019 shouldn't have happened. So clearly extending her support to parties from Jammu and Kashmir who have been calling for a restoration of the pre-August 5th, 2019 status in Jammu and Kashmir. We do know that in the background there is a lot of hobnobbing which is happening between opposition political parties in order to possibly pitch a front against the Bharatiya Janata Party in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. In fact, Omar Abdullah, who's present in this meeting right now, was present in that meeting that just happened a couple of days ago at Mr. Sharad Pawar's residence, which was convened by now TMC Vice President Mr. Yashwant Sinha under the banner of the Rashtra Manch. So clearly there is a lot of hand-holding which is happening behind the scenes, which will be very interesting to watch.
It indeed would be, and we'll be tracking that story very closely. Rahul Srivastav and Paulami Saha, for the moment, many thanks. I will come back to you. This remains our top focus story, the Prime Minister's meeting with leaders of Jammu and Kashmir. But hours before this meeting started, there was a stunning split, in a way, between alliance partners, Gupkar alliance partners. You had the National Conference completely distancing itself from Mehbooba Mufti's claim about initiating dialogue with Pakistan. NC patron Farooq Abdullah, he said this may be Mehbooba Mufti's personal opinion or this may be her party's agenda. He's in Delhi only to talk to the Prime Minister. Let's listen in.
सुधारने इस खिते में अमन लाना है, न सिर्फ जम्मू कश्मीर या हमारे मुल्क के अंदर बल्कि पूरे खिते में, तो इसके बगैर कोई चारा नहीं है।
क्लियर कर दिया, नो
कॉम्प्रोमाइज ऑन दैट। और डायलॉग की बात, हमसे डायलॉग कर रहे हैं। हम कहते हैं कि ये दोहा जाके तालिबान से डायलॉग कर रहे हैं, आपने सुना होगा हमारी गवर्नमेंट। तो जम्मू कश्मीर में डायलॉग करे और सबके साथ करे और पाकिस्तान के साथ भी करे रेजोल्यूशन के लिए।
फारूक साहब, महबूबा मुफ्ती ने कहा कि पाकिस्तान से बात होनी चाहिए, धारा 317। आप ही का गठबंधन तो है।
देखिए, जहाँ तक इंडिविजुअल का सवाल है, वो एक पार्टी की लीडर हैं, वो पार्टी की बात करती हैं, उसमें मैं कुछ नहीं कह सकता, क्योंकि उनका एजेंडा अपना है, मेरा एजेंडा अपना है, दोनों पार्टीज हैं और कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है।
पाकिस्तान की बात लाना बीच में इस मौके पर क्या ठीक है? आपको लगता है ऐसे मौके पाकिस्तान की बात नहीं लानी चाहिए?
मैं पाकिस्तान वगैरह की बात नहीं करना चाहता। मुझे अपने वतन से बात करनी है, अपने वतन के प्राइम मिनिस्टर से बात करनी है।
The Dogra Front activists in Jammu, they've staged a massive protest against PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti after she called for dialogue with Pakistan. Dogra activists say that the JNK's former chief minister, Mehbooba Mufti, should actually be jailed for this comment. The activists say Pakistan continues to sponsor terror in India, and yet leaders of Gupkar alliance seems to back dialogue with Pakistan.
Ahead of the important all-party meeting on Jammu and Kashmir, the activists of Dogra Front are staging protests in Jammu. Right now you can see behind me that the activists of Dogra Front are raising slogans against Mehbooba Mufti and Farooq Abdullah. And you can see that protesters are raising slogans against Pakistan and Mehbooba Mufti. They want that legal action should be taken against Mehbooba Mufti. They want Mehbooba Mufti to be jailed. We will speak to Abhishek Gupta, who is a youth activist from Dogra Front. Abhishek, Mehbooba Mufti has demanded that talks should be, re-initiated with Pakistan. What do you have to say on that?
Mehbooba Mufti on first basis is no one to even express a request like this. After 370, everything got sorted. And after coming out from a meeting of PAGD, she's saying that Pakistan should be made a stakeholder in the Kashmir issue. She has lost all her plot. Her entire party is on the verge of getting finished and ended. And statements like this are only way to revive her finished and dead politics.
So you can clearly see that there is outrage over Mehbooba Mufti's demand for resumption of talks with Pakistan. The protesters here are saying that Mehbooba Mufti is trying to embolden the terrorists, and that is why there have been terror incidents in Srinagar in last 24 hours. With video journalist Neeraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from Jammu for India Today.
And some political parties and activists in Jammu are furious at this importance being given to members of the Gupkar alliance. They're saying that the BJP is surrendering to parties of Kashmir and are enraged that such an invitation was not given to the leadership in Jammu. But is that actually a fact? Because some of the parties in Jammu feel that their aspirations are not being accommodated by the Narendra Modi government despite promises made. They see this as a blunder. The government, at least through sources, has said that there are leaders like Nirmal Singh, Ravindra Raina, Kavindra Gupta, Tara Chand. They're all there at this meeting representing Jammu. And this first meeting, incidentally, is with the elected leadership, former elected leadership of Jammu and Kashmir.
Today you have adopted the same old strategy. You have not given any representation to this 5 lakh Kashmiri Pandit community who are having the history of 5,000 years old. So can I ask Bharat Sarkar, who is representing in today's meeting on behalf of Kashmiri Pandits? None. Is total insulted against Kashmiri Pandits who are the nationalist forces who were working today in Kashmir Valley for this nation.
So political activity is gradually gathering steam in Jammu and Kashmir. The Delimitation Commission, headed by Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai, has also got a year-long extension to rework boundaries for the next election. So rework assembly constituencies, Lok Sabha seats. The commission has not just shot off a letter to all district collectors for more information on population density, terrain and topography, but they've also had one round of meeting virtually yesterday. The perception in Jammu is that they're being forced to play a second fiddle to Kashmir. But the question remains, will delimitation change those dynamics? What is delimitation? What is it likely to achieve? Let's find out. Political leaders in Jammu and Kashmir hold consultations ahead of the meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Delhi on the 24th of June. There is a buzz in the air about restoration of political activity. Beyond the optics, there is a detailed delimitation exercise currently underway, which is expected to pave the way for elections in Jammu and Kashmir. The Delimitation Commission was set up on the 6th of March 2020 after the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Act 2019 was passed in Parliament on the 5th of August 2019. On Independence Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke of the delimitation exercise and the road ahead.
जम्मू कश्मीर में डिलिमिटेशन की प्रक्रिया चल रही है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निवृत्त न्यायमूर्ति के नेतृत्व में डिलिमिटेशन का काम चल रहा है। भविष्य में वहां चुनाव हो, जम्मू कश्मीर के एमएलए हो, जम्मू कश्मीर के मंत्रीगण हो, जम्मू कश्मीर के मुख्यमंत्रीगण हो, नई ऊर्जा के साथ विकास के मार्ग पर आगे बढ़े, इसके लिए देश प्रतिबद्ध भी है और प्रयासरत भी है।
The Delimitation Commission is headed by Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai, a former Justice of the Supreme Court of India. The election commissioners in Delhi and in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir are its ex officio members. It also has 5 associate members, including Dr. Jitendra Singh, Jugal Kishore Sharma, Farooq Abdullah, Muhammad Akbar Lone, and Hasnain Masoodi. The task of the Delimitation Commission is redrawing boundaries of Jammu and Kashmir on the basis of the last census for Assembly and Lok Sabha elections. Before the Reorganisation Act of Jammu and Kashmir 2019, the Assembly in the erstwhile state had 87 seats, 46 in Kashmir, 37 in Jammu and 4 in Ladakh. Of course, apart from 24 in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. After the reorganization, the plan is to have 114 seats with more balanced representation, which has in the past led to tension, with Jammu complaining of being underrepresented and playing second fiddle to Kashmir. Ladakh now is a separate union territory.
Many social and political organizations in Jammu region feel that the way delimitation is being conducted, it will not give justice to Jammu region. They say that this delimitation is being conducted as per 2011 census, which they feel was a fudged one. The BJP, on the other hand, has promised that there will be no compromise on the issues of Jammu, and delimitation will be done in a way so that Jammu gets justice and the total number of seats of Jammu in J&K Assembly increase.
It is the strategic necessity of the Union of India as well to contain terrorism and jihad in Kashmir, and the only way it can be contained is by creating a special state of Jammu Pradesh and dividing Kashmir into 2 union territories.
On the 4th of March 2021, the Commission sought a year-long extension, saying due to COVID, they were unable to carry out the task. The Commission has also sent a letter to district commissioners of all the districts of Jammu and Kashmir seeking information on population density, terrain and topography. Jammu has sought equal representation on the basis of topography and terrain, while Kashmir wants representation to be limited to population and density.
The Delimitation Commission, which has been set up after Article 370 was removed in 2019, is an important exercise which will increase the number of seats in the Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir from 107 to 114. While a lot of people in Jammu have been welcoming it, many in the valley have been fearing that this is an attempt to increase the number of seats only in the Jammu division.
Last time such an exercise was carried out was in 1995 on the basis of 1981 census ahead of the 1996 elections. Delimitation was carried out before that in 1963 and 1975. The Assembly of the erstwhile state of J&K had put a freeze on delimitation till 2026. With Shujaul Haq in Srinagar and Sunilji Bhatt in Jammu, Bureau Report, India Today. And coming up next, sensational revelations have emerged in the Uttar Pradesh forced conversion